32 teams competed in Germany in 2006 for the highest trophy in association football, the FIFA World Cup. But only 31 of those teams represented countries. The squad of Serbia and Montenegro competed even though their country had stopped existing with Montenegro's referendum of independence on 21st of May. Serbia and Montenegro did not pass the group stage, losing 1-0 to the Netherlands, 6-0 to Argentina, and 3-2 to Ivory Coast. They left the tournament with 0 points, 2 goals scored and 10 conceded. After the tournament, the team was disbanded and separate national teams were established for Serbia and for Montenegro. Serbia qualified for both the 2010 and the 2018 World Cups. Montenegro, although coming close for the European Championship in 2012, failed to appear at a major tournament since. But that's not the only case of a national team qualifying for a World Cup and then witnessing their country vanish from the world map. In 1938, Austria had qualified for the FIFA World Cup in France, but then was annexed by Nazi Germany in March before the tournament could be held in June. German head coach Sepp Herberger, who would after World War II lead West Germany to its first World Cup title in 1954, was instructed by Nazi leadership to forget his previous squad and to build a new one including key Austrian players. The time frame proved too short, and Germany would be bested by Switzerland in a repeat game in the round of 16, one of only 2 times that Germany was eliminated in the first round of a World Cup. Austria's withdrawal meanwhile meant that Sweden could advance to the quarterfinals for free, where they beat Cuba 8-0, marking the end of Cuba's only World Cup appearance. Sweden would go on to be defeated 5-1 by a strong Hungarian squad, which would in turn go on to be defeated 4-2 in the final game by defending champion Italy. There are other examples that one could list. Czechoslovakia existed only until 1992, but had already played qualifiers for the 1994 World Cup in the United States. At a time the two countries had already split, their common team continued to play as the Representation of Czechs and Slovaks, RCS. They would however fail to qualify for the tournament. After witnessing cases of a country stopping to exist before a World Cup could be played, it might be interesting to examine what happens when a new country is born. How do they get to join international football? Well, the youngest country on earth is as good an example as any. The Republic of South Sudan, independent since 9th of July 2011. Association football is one of the most popular sports in sub-Saharan Africa, and a preliminary national team already played its first unofficial match against Kenyan private club Tusker FC on 10th of July 2011, potentially making South Sudan the youngest team ever to play a national football game. The country joined the Confederation of African Football on 10th of February 2012, and finally became a FIFA member on 25th of May that same year. On the anniversary of its first game against Tusker FC, South Sudan faced its first international opponent in the form of a friendly match versus Uganda, achieving a respectable 2-2 tie. Defensive midfielder Richard Justin Lado became the first player ever to score for South Sudan in an international game. After the match, they were first placed in the FIFA ratings, being ranked 199th at the time. They have since then steadily climbed the ranks, reaching 156th as of the writing of this video. South Sudan is thus comparable to countries like Guatemala, Ethiopia, Mauritius, Liberia, and Indonesia, the 4th most populous country on earth. Another interesting thing to note is that most of their major players like James Moga played for United Sudan before South Sudanese independence. You see, FIFA usually believes in national commitment. You are only eligible for your country of birth, the country of birth of one of your parents, the country of birth of one of your grandparents, or a country in which you have been living for at least 5 years while older than 18 and for which you hold citizenship. But importantly, as soon as you play an official senior match for a country, that's it, you're committed. Diego Costa, for example, played 2 friendlies for Brazil before switching to Spain. Jermaine Jones, after failing to catch on in the German national team, switched allegiance to his father's birth country and has since made 69 appearances for the United States. FIFA created these rules outlined to counteract a trend in the early 2000s of African and Middle Eastern teams to improve their own football quality with second-class footballers from more advanced countries. But FIFA makes regular exceptions for cases in which new countries are born, unless it is politically controversial, but that is a story for another time.